I won't delve into every single one. I know 10 hours in, we're all exhausted from the deliberations today. But I just wanted to request po siguro, Sec, a catch-up plan for the particular programs that are lagging behind in terms of disbursements. Ito po, I am one of the greatest advocates of putting funding into the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, especially in terms of the mechanization program. But we're only at 5% disbursement. 100, almost 100% obligated, but 5% disbursement. So siguro, Sec, if we may just request po for a catch-up plan on how we can speed up the procurement process, just so we can distribute our farm machineries very much needed by our farmers. 99.11% obligated, 4.39% disbursed. Similarly, Sec, I've also asked this earlier with regard to the the quick response fund. If we may perhaps revisit the guidelines internally on the part of the DA, just so it would be better utilized for the coming years. Ito pong development of upland irrigation systems and small water irrigation and impounding project. It's at 57% obligated, 0% disbursed. So siguro catch-up plan din siguro, Sec. Perhaps it's also in the, as you mentioned earlier, baka nasa procurement and bidding lang siya. Calamity fund din po. I'm also seeing in the calamity fund, it's a similar trend po. It's only 37.6% obligated, 0% disbursed. So that's an amount of 500 million pesos po, Sec. So perhaps I'm inferring po it's similar to the QRF. Yun din yung dahilan. It's probably the stringency or the guidelines that kind of delays the release of the calamity fund. So dalawa po yun in conjunction with each other. Yung QRF po and calamity fund, kailangan po kasi. So let's please make sure po that that's addressed. The rest po, National Livestock Program. 79% obligated, only 54% dispersed, Sec. So if we may also take a look at that, kasi isa po yun sa mga programa na gusto sana nating taasan ulit yung funding. So kailangan lang po nating balansehin, balangkasin lang natin to make sure we also utilize the amounts there. Egg Industry Development Project, 52% obligated, 0% disbursed. So if we may take a look at that as well. And yun lang naman po from my end, Sec. And on the part of Mia po, similar to my request earlier, yung tatlo lang po siguro admin, the 3 projects accounting for roughly 24-27 billion. Sana po siguraduhin lang po natin na lahat po ng funds na yun may-utilize bago po mag-expire. So that's it lang po. I won't reiterate and belabor the point. It has been raised again and again during the budget deliberation. So may we request po Secretary Tiu-Laurel and Admin Galian to please provide the catch-up plans for the aforementioned programs and projects.
Yes, Madam Chair, we will do it as soon as possible.
Likewise, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much po, Sec. Thank you very much, Admin. Just to summarize po, and I wanted to again solicit the inputs of our Secretary and our Administrator. Ito po kasi yung mga na-highlight during the over 10 hours of deliberations na programs and projects na kulang po, yung underfunded as per the NEP. So I always make it a point before the end of every budget deliberations to talk to our heads of agencies to ask if there are other programs that are prioritized by the agency but were either underfunded or unfunded in the NEP. So uunahan ko na po siguro on the part of the Department of Agriculture, ang na-highlight po is the National Livestock Program, and then Farm to Market Roads, the High Value Crops Program, and ito lang may overlap lang po yung irrigation and NFA. That's something that we would like to take a look at. Allocations for BARM, that was also highlighted during the discussion. Na-raise din po yung assistance to farmers on damaged crops due to the typhoon, and I think that's where the QRF and the Calamity Fund would come in. And then meron lang pong questions around the, ayun. So yun po yung mga na-highlight, Sec. So it's those programs. And I just wanted to check in po, siguro, Sec Kiko, if there are other programs and projects that were not mentioned that you would like to propose po for
Yes, Madam Chair,
prioritization.
yung agri-ports, kasi ang laki ng binaba from 5 billion to 2 billion yung ports eh. So, kung mapondohan yung agri-ports natin, then that will be helpful. Madam
How
Chair,
many ports po are we talking about, Sec? Like how much funding would be necessary?
Walang napangako ni Presidente. Actually, nung masaya siya na sa Iloilo nung inaugurate yun. 10 ports yung inano niya. But I really believe na hindi naman namin kaya ma-implement in 3 years yung malalaking port no, na 10. Maybe some small, some big yan. Kaya yun. Probably for every year, baka 2 billion a year. Mamagawa yun, Madam Chair.
Sec, for all the programs that were mentioned, may I request po, whichever of these you consider as priorities, if pwede po nating ma-request po yung Department of Agriculture to please submit, hopefully within 48 hours from the hearing, a list of the projects that you would like us to prioritize for funding, should we find additional fiscal space, and how much you would be needing po for these programs.
Yes, Madam Chair, ready naman kami dyan kasi nandun sa tier 2 namin dun sa budget proposal namin. But we'll just formalize it na since biglang nagkaroon ng fiscal space.
Yes po.
Pati mga ibang ma-address yung mga ibang pangailangan pa ng ating mga membro ng Kongreso. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Opo, thank you, Sec. So we'll wait for that submission po from the Department of Agriculture. On the part of the National Irrigation Administration, Admin, may I pose the same question? Which programs or projects of NIA would you like us to prioritize for funding if we're able to find additional fiscal space po?
Well, of course, Madam Chair, ang laging napagkakaitan sa amin noon pa, no, yung aming feasibility study kasi wala na kaming naka-line up na malalaking dams, ano po, dahil laging tinatanggal yon. Yung repair, rehab namin, restoration, kasi low-lying fruits po yung mga yan eh. Napakadali namin gawin, at saka mas mura nating i-implement. And of course, sana lang yung ating QRF, kasi sana mo makakarating yung 300 million. Ang experience po namin, pagka nabagyo po may mga nabagyo kaming system, lalo na po kung may standing crops, nakakaawa po yung farmer na mamatay na lang yung mga standing crops nila. So, 300 million po yung QRF namin ngayon. Sana dagdagan po yun. And of course, yung aming, maganda po yung simula namin yung sana man lang ma-restore yung aming yung GAA level namin, same programs for next year. Hindi naman kami masyadong humihingi ng malaki, i-restore lang siya. Huwag lang naman biglang bawasan ng ganon dahil mawawala po yung momentum namin. Po.
Thank you, Admin. Yung mga na-note po namin, additional funds for communal irrigation, for the PBBM flagship projects, for repair and restoration of existing irrigation systems, establishment of solar pumps, and yun po, and the QRF. Yun po yung mga ino-note namin on the part of NIA. And actually po, it's actually fitting na ngayon po tayo din nag-meet kasi kanina po nag-release po ang ating presidente ng proposed menu niya as to where the funds from the flood control projects may be reallocated. Buksan ko lang po. So, to a sector that he really highlighted is agriculture. So, nilalagay po niya dito, DA and NIA, and then specifically farm-to-market roads, post-harvest facilities, rice subsidy, cold storage expansion project, fish ports, and irrigation dams. So, ito po siguro dahil ito po yung menu or rather ito yung priority areas na hinighlight po ng ating Pangulo. We will also endeavor on the part of the Committee on Appropriations to also provide additional funding for these programs from the additional fiscal space that was made available. Given that we're refunneling it po from the flood control program. So siguro po, para po alam lang po namin kung saan talaga natin i-direct at kung magkano yung kailangan natin for the specific programs. Hilingin lang po sana namin, Sec, Admin, within 48 hours, kaya po ba? Para pag available na po, kasi po isasubmit na rin po yung DPWH budget sa amin ngayong araw, makikita na po namin ilan po yung ma-free up for other priorities and other sectors. So from there, at least we can immediately evaluate as to where we can funnel the funds, redirect it from the flood control projects po. So, okay, I think 10.5 hours in, wala naman yata. We started at 9:30 a.m. today, and it's now 8 o'clock. So it's been 10.5 hours since we began the deliberations of the Department of Agriculture and the National Irrigation Administration. Siguro naman po, wala na po tayong hindi nahimay na program at lahat naman po ng concerns ng ating mga kasama dito sa Kongreso. We're so grateful to our DA and NIA family. Thank you very much for your invaluable inputs. Thank you po for your wisdom, sharing your wisdom with us. That will be very helpful for us as we move further towards finalizing the budget for the Department of Agriculture and the National Irrigation Administration. So, given that there are no other interpellator who wish to pose questions to DA and NIA, may I solicit a motion from the body?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Kokoyap.
I move that we terminate the budget hearing on the proposed budget of Department of Agriculture, including its attached agencies and corporation and the National Irrigation Administration. I so move.
Together, or two separate motions?
And that we suspend the hearing and resume.
Kong Koko, if I may po, may I request two separate motions? Iba po yung motion natin to terminate on the part of DA and its attached agencies and iba din po yung sa NIA. So may I request po for an amended motion from our Representative Yap?
Madam Chair, I move that we terminate the budget hearing on the proposed budget of Department of Agriculture, including its attached agencies and corporation, and the national. I so move, Madam Chair.
I second the motion,
Is there
Madam
any
Chair.
second? The motion, there is a motion and that's been duly seconded. The motion is carried. The budget briefing, the budget hearing on the proposed budget of the Department of Agriculture, including its attached agencies and corporations, is hereby terminated.
Madam Chair, I move that we suspend.
One more for NIA, please. One more motion.
Madam Chair, I
Go
move,
ahead, Representative Yap.
I move that we also terminate the budget of the National Irrigation budget hearing of the National Irrigation Administration. I so move.
Any second?
Madam Chair.
There is a motion. It has been duly seconded. The motion is carried. The budget hearing on the proposed budget of the National Irrigation Administration is hereby terminated. Thank you very much po. After 10.5 hours, thank you very much po to our DA and NIA family. We're so grateful that you're here. Maraming salamat po.